Hey, excuse me, Terry. Lay me. Where the foul at, ref? All right, this LaMelo ball, nigga. Step back, crossover, pull up. Damn, that was a tough shot. I kind of miss playing alongside LeBron. We were a lot more competitive and had a lot more direction with that team. We competed in 3 straight NBA finals in our first 3 years playing together. Having played with Harden and playing with KD's been cool and all, but we haven't even made it to a conference finals yet. And as great as those players are, there's just something about competing in the finals. That adrenaline, that high. It's a feeling that you feel once and you just crave to feel it again. I know the NBA was a different time back then, but sometimes the mind just can't help but wander.
By Kyrie Irving, but it's a play he's made his entire life. The ability to score and flat out get it done on the offensive end. Irving. Turns it over. James keeps his dribble somehow. Irving back to James. The Warriors are NBA champions again.
The back-to-back NBA Finals MVP, Kevin Durant.
Wow, it's really been a couple years. Feels like I won those Finals MVPs just yesterday. We really used to whoop the Cavs' ass. I mean, damn near would have three-peated if it wasn't for...
New NBA champion, and it's a team from Toronto, Canada. We, the North, are now we, the champions. The Raptors, the 2019 NBA champs. Belongs to the Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers conquer the bubble, and banner number 17 will soon hang in the rafters. Bucks have done it. The long wait has ended. After a half-century, the Milwaukee Bucks are NBA champions once again. It's over. The Golden State Warriors return to a familiar place. They're on top of the NBA world. The 4th title in 8 years. The Dubs dynasty is still very much alive.
Has made over $200 million plus. You signed on to be a member of the Brooklyn Nets and got KD and James Harden to do it. The objective was to establish a legacy and a new era in New York City that didn't belong to the Knicks. Let's create our own legacy and our own brand, because the New York Knicks already got their own. They came to you and you ain't there.
Houston, Philly was my first choice. It just didn't happen. Just so detailed, I don't really want to get into the Brooklyn situation. I just knew, for a very long time this was a perfect fit, and then obviously the coaching, just from top to bottom, it made sense, and I'm just happy and blessed that I'm here.
With reports that the Nets have reached an impasse with their star point guard.
Simmons, he's going to require 3 to 4 months of rehab after undergoing back surgery for pain in a herniated disc. Remember, Simmons never played for Brooklyn after being acquired in a trade for James Harden this spring.
They thought things would be different, but a first-round loss.
And a sweep. Boston, 4 in a row. After they lost in 5 to the Nets last year, they answer back with their 8th series sweep in franchise history, last done in the bubble against the Sixers. And Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant head into the offseason.
Nah, fuck this. I want another one.
Just in, according to our Adrian Wojnarowski, literally 4 minutes ago, tweeting this. Brooklyn Nets GM Sean Marks is working with Kevin Durant and his business manager Rich Kleiman on finding a trade for the franchise star.
Yo, what's good with y'all, man? Welcome back to the channel, bro. It's Sorbo Hoops, and today we about to be talking about some hoops, man. That intro is a little longer than usual, but today I felt like doing something new. Now, for us to get right into this video, we got something crazy happening before free agency stuff start happening in a couple hours tonight. And I'm assuming you've already heard the news at this point. It's been going crazy all over the sports news and I guess NBA, Reddit, whatever y'all find your stuff at. Kevin Durant is looking to be traded. He is requesting a trade out of Brooklyn. And a report came shortly after that stating that Kyrie will be seeking to most likely get out of the Brooklyn Nets as well. Brooklyn did seem a bit confused in the direction they were going with this team. Now, even when the Harden trade had happened last season, not only did they trade their future away for a win-now move, they also traded away 3 first-round picks and 4 pick swaps. Though they proved the doubters wrong for a brief moment in time, there was just questions circulating around who would be controlling the majority of the ball handling responsibilities. We know KD isn't a ball-dominant player. Kyrie is someone who is, though his usage rate isn't as high as some other guards around the league. There was some confusion around getting Harden on that team, being that even though he is a great talent, the fit just didn't make much sense because prior to the Harden trade, they were in desperate need of defensive players, and there was just questions towards whether their play styles would be compatible. But it was a three-headed monster nonetheless, and what became a consistent issue for this team was just the availability of their stars, as most of us know. Now, with Kyrie not taking the whole vaccine and that being like a whole drama thing this season, I do feel as if, you know, even though Harden and Durant never came out publicly and said it, I do believe it made them feel some type of way, though. Because all of these stars are more the later years of their prime years, and when they all aligned, they all had one common goal in mind. Yes, although Harden eventually fell out of his prime and, you know, Durant ended up getting injured throughout the season. Regardless of all of that, they were still a championship contending team. But the pieces just didn't fit. Now, they signed a lot of older veterans like DeAndre Jordan. They signed Dragic at one point. They had Aldridge. They had Blake Griffin. They had Patty Mills. Like, they were like the Lakers 2.0 of the East, to be honest with you. But, again, KD is 33, turning 34 in September. His championship window is closing. And now, as of the reports, they are saying that Miami and Phoenix are looking like the go-to destinations for him. Of course, that list can expand because, shit, what team wouldn't want Kevin Durant? I mean, at this point, I believe Durant's at a point in his career where, like, fuck loyalty to organizations. Like, he's just gonna take his talents anywhere he feels like taking them. Now, I'm not in the locker rooms, and I don't know any of these men personally. And I'm not gonna sit up here and try to imply that either of these guys are hating ass dudes, but let's be real, I do feel like these two are human. And I do feel like some factors that played a role in sparking the idea of wanting to be traded from Brooklyn could stem from the fact that both of their former teams have just competed in the finals before they did. And they're doing it without them. And even in Kyrie's case, they're doing better without him. They didn't even crack the finals barriers when they had him. It was because he spent like damn near half the time injured. And though he was a positive for them on the offensive end, he was a liability on the defensive end. To be honest, on the net side of things, it's going to be even harder to get rid of Kyrie, just given his contract, what a team would have to give up for such a talent, and just the inconsistency in his availability. Obviously, we're not Kevin Durant himself, but we do know that he wants to go to a team where he can win sooner than later. I mean, now Simmons is most likely looking like he's about to have his own team. Simmons for MVP next year, who knows? In terms of teams that would be a great fit for KD, I mean, do I really need to make a list? I mean, he can really fit into almost any system. Miami and Phoenix are some good destinations. Phoenix, and I seen some Phoenix rumors. I saw that Sean Marks was asking for Devin Booker. And being that they just signed Booker to his max deal, I don't believe that if there was a potential deal done with Phoenix that Booker would be the one going. And I do believe they would have to include Ayton and some other young core pieces they have on this Phoenix roster. Now, a roster with KD, CP3, and Booker, though it would probably be a roster with a depleted bench and a short championship run window, the pieces mesh together really well. I do believe it will still be a roster that would be a threat in the Western Conference. Regardless of CP3's aging, just imagine a scenario and an offense where you have one of the most versatile and efficient scoring wings in NBA history setting a screen action for one of the best passers and efficient point guards in NBA history. Durant's gonna have to be aware of a team that has flexible enough assets to trade for him and still remain a championship contending team once they get him. Miami's case, they're in a similar predicament to Phoenix, because even though a hypothetical trio of Butler, Adebayo, and Durant sounds very intriguing and very talented, it's very unlikely because Brooklyn would be asking for at least Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, and some picks, and that's at the least. There's already been multiple reports that Sean Marks would want the kitchen sink for whatever team trades for KD. They're going to have to trade a pretty penny for Durant, because not only is it Durant, but he's also going to be making about $40 million a year. So whatever team can hold that cap for the next 3 years, so be it. Now, the Knicks, they did what they did draft night. I mean, I don't know if they thought they were about to do something, as the Knicks signed Jalen Brunson to a 4-year, $104 million contract. So yeah, hopefully that ends up working out for them, and props to the Knicks being the Knicks. Atlanta would have been cool, but they traded away any leverage they would have had in the Kevin Durant trade when they traded away 3 first-round picks for Dejounte Murray. A legendary duo being formed in Portland would be a cool destination for Durant to get traded to as well. Just got Jeremy Grant not too long ago. They also have Anthony Simons, who's becoming like a pretty good prospect. But to be honest with you, even with that, they still would have to trade a lot of, like, you got to think, like, you know, trade packages for superstars isn't really the easiest thing. Now, obviously, we've been seeing a lot of stars in the past couple of years getting moved to like first round picks. It happened with Paul George, AD, Harden. They attach a good all-star caliber player and you just throw some picks in there and you can get yourself a generational talent. And I mean, Durant can really fit in almost any system. I mean, the Lakers, Dallas, he can go there and really make a strong impact. I definitely and wholeheartedly believe if he goes to Dallas, they will be making the finals within the same year. The Pelicans is an interesting team as well if he chooses to go there. Chicago, I heard, is another one that's in the rumors. Basically, any team in the NBA that acquires Kevin Durant this whole season will have a shot in the playoffs. And depending on how they build their roster throughout the next couple of years of his tenure being there in his contract, they're going to do their best to build a contending team by the time his contract is up once again. It's very unprecedented in NBA history for us to see a superstar of this caliber request a trade after even signing a contract with the same franchise. Durant is arguably the best player in the NBA right now, so you could imagine every and any team is calling these Nets day in and day out to get them to accepting a trade. And to be honest with you, I mean, business is business, so I feel like Brooklyn is just going to accept any deal that they feel is best for their franchise long term. Because, as I said earlier, they're going to want any team's best players for Durant. Like, you don't just let a generational talent like that just walk for nothing, you feel me? They want the farm. And with KD signing that 4-year deal with Brooklyn, it gives them a lot more leverage in the trade market now. Whether it's a high-value market team like LA or New York, or whether it's a low-market team like Denver or San Antonio, they have the leverage of acquiring KD and building a roster around him within the tenure of his contract. Whatever team gets him, they're going to have to trade a lot of their depth, and I can see why Miami and Phoenix is at the top of their list. But anyways, with that being said, you know, we also have Kyrie on the other hand as well, which is also an extremely talented player as well. And of course, if health wasn't a thing, if media presence wasn't such a strong factor, yeah, a lot of teams would have to throw almost a kitchen sink for him as well. From a business perspective, it just isn't the smartest investment to go after Kyrie so hard, just for the simple fact that you don't know how consistently he's going to be on the court for you. When it comes to suitable teams for Kyrie, I can imagine him on a team with Dallas, Miami, Lakers. There's some validity to those rumors. I guess he would have been cool for the Knicks, but they obviously went with their point guard decision. He needs a roster that has more players that can guard the perimeter. If Kyrie could land himself in a spot, my favorite I would say Dallas would be. The guard tandem of Kyrie and Luka in a lineup is pretty scary in terms of the shot creation you would be getting out of the two. Jason Kidd could really get creative with that type of offense, with Luka's passing vision and just maximizing Kyrie's off-ball movement on offense. Although you could question the on-ball defense between those two, the defensive potential of the lineups those two would be in would heavily depend on the roster they have going into next season. if they're able to acquire Kyrie without trading multiple of their defensive core players like Reggie Bullock, Dorian Finney-Smith, and also being coached by Jason Kidd, I do believe they'll be able to hold up on that end, especially with them being a top 10 defense in the season prior. And on the offensive end, I mean, for the loss of Brunson, you'll be getting a hell of an upgrade. And also with the acquisition of Christian Wood, and like I said, assuming they keep a core group of their role players, this team is also a finals contender if they was to somehow get a healthy version of Kyrie Irving. I mean, this potentially breaks free agency because teams are going to be a lot more patient in terms of who they sign and what they're going to be willing to give up for these players. I mean, y'all leave your thoughts down below on what team y'all would like to see them on going into next season. And with that being said, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like down below. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We get litty in this section, you feel me? And y'all be easy.